Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. My name is Joris and today I will be ranking 40 Italian stocks that make up the MIB 40 or the IT 40 index. So you can either find these 40 stocks when you look up the MIB 40 index or the IT 40 index. And the IT stands then for Italy. And the MIB 40 index is actually short for the FTSE MIB index. And it's not Men in Black, but it's Milano Indice di Borsa. So I can pronounce some words in Italian pretty good because I watched a lot of television when I was watching the tour of Italy. I like cycling a lot, and when I was young, it was the only television channel where I could watch the cycling going on when it was the tour of Italy. So that's why I understand quite a lot of Italian, but yeah, speaking it's way more difficult for me. So when I mispronounce some words in this video, please excuse me for that. But yeah, the MIB 40, it's the benchmark for the Italian market since September of 2004, because before that it was the MIB 30 index, so quite comparable to the German situation where you had DAX 30 that changed into the DAX 40, but that was more recently, that was in September of 2021 that the change took place. So this is already 20 years that the MIB 40 is running. And it contains the 40 most significant stocks among the largest market cap stocks on the Borsa Italiana. And if you look at the ranking according to the market capitalization in billion euros, the first thing that is really obvious is Ferrari. So it's the biggest firm right now on the Italian stock market, with a market capitalization of 76 billion euros, but with a PE valuation of 55.54. So that's way higher than Porsche on the German stock market, where the Porsche stock with the ticker P911.DE is currently trading at a PE ratio of 13.44. So Porsche and Ferrari both are considered luxurious cars, but Porsche is definitely not rated at the same level as Ferrari right now. So it is said that luxurious items, they are less prone to the cyclical cycles of the economy. And yeah, Ferrari is definitely a luxurious good because all the cars are pretty expensive, and rich people, yeah, they don't tend to mind whether or not the economy is performing good or bad. When they want to buy a Ferrari and they have the money, they will buy a Ferrari. But the same is true for Porsche. So as Porsche is valued way less expensive than Ferrari, I'm not too keen on buying Ferrari. So yeah, that's another thing. And then of course you can also look at Porsche Holding and Volkswagen Holding, but they are trading with a PE of 2.48 and 3.10 respectively. And that's more because yeah, they are really intertwined, those two holdings. Porsche Holding is a major shareholder of Volkswagen Holding, and Volkswagen Holding is actually the main shareholder of Porsche. So it's really complicated how they have organized that, and that has also an impact on the PE valuation, of course. Ferrari is more straightforward, and in that regard, Ferrari is maybe a bit easier to understand as well. Then you have a lot of companies that are energy related and banks that are really cheaply valuated on the Italian stock market. And that will be clear when we look at the PE valuation. the ranking of the PE valuation. But yeah, another one, Prismian. I think it's a robotics company. They are noted at a PE value of 35.6, so also pretty expensive. But that's not abnormal in a sector where a lot of where the future seems bright. So their investors are most likely to overpay the share right now. I'm not going to do that, but that's an explanation why it is ranked that high, of course. And two other stocks that I can mention here is Stellantis and ST Microelectronics. Both of those I also discussed in the video of the French stock market, so with the CAC 40 index. And yeah, Stellantis with a dividend yield of 11.39%. You will see it later on in the video as well, appearing on top of the list, or almost on top of the list. So really high dividend yield, and if you look at the payout ratio, it doesn't seem to have a problem to will be able to maintain the dividend yield. So in that regard, it's an interesting stock. But on the other hand, you know what I said in the previous videos that I did like this, and in the video of the DAX 40, I pointed out to a German ETF that you can buy on the German stock exchanges, and it's the iShares ETF that is oriented towards the automotive sector. So if you want to be invested in car manufacturers, go check that video out and write down the ISIN code or the ticker symbol of that one and check that one out. I think it's more interesting to invest in that ETF than in individual car stocks. And to close it off, it's Poste Italiane with a PE of 9 and a dividend yield above 6% and a payout ratio below 60%. So for me, that one is an interesting stock for sure as well. And then here on this page, you see the 3 stocks that are actually having a payout ratio higher than 100%. You have Esnam. It's a company that is related to gas because they have the infrastructure to distribute the gas. And I know the company pretty well because Fluxys, a company in Belgium, they work together closely in some European countries. So that's why I know the name already, and that's how I started following Esnam. But a payout ratio of above 100%, that's not good to see, of course. And that's definitely the case for Mediobanca and also Infrastrutture Vire. So that's more telecom related. And yeah, Mediobanca, that's no surprise, it's a bank. So if they can maintain their dividends, that's to be seen in the future. And then one of the two companies with a negative earnings per share in the MIB 40, it's Nexi with minus 0.81. But in the contrary to BASF and Bayer that still paid out the dividend, Nexi doesn't pay out the dividend. And I think that's also always a smart choice. And on the next page, we have Telecom Italia with a negative earnings per share and also not paying out the dividend. And then the third company that is not paying out the dividend, that's Saipem. So only 3 companies not paying out the dividend on the MIB 40 index. And that's really nice. That also points out that companies that are reliable, most of the time they pay out dividends. And yeah, I'm a dividend investor, so that's what is interesting for me, and what makes investing interesting for me. That doesn't want to say that I'm not looking into buying Saipem or Telecom Italia or anything like that. I always look at the complete company and whether or not they will be paying dividends in the future. as well, because having companies that grow well right now and are on the way to maintaining a really good track record and then starting paying a dividend, those are always interesting as well, because growth isn't bad at all, of course. I want companies that grow and pay out dividends, and if they aren't paying out dividends, they can do it later on. I found it really disturbing that when Meta announced that they were starting to paying out the dividend, that it suddenly shot up like crazy, because a lot of people didn't had it on their radar because it didn't pay out dividends. But that's crazy, because it was a really good growth company. So when you think it's a great growth company that will pay out dividends in the future, you should have already had it in your portfolio. And then when it says, okay, we are going to pay out a bit of dividend, that people go crazy and start buying it because they announced that they were they were going to pay out a small dividend. That's so crazy to me, but that's just the way the stock market works. So we can go over to the 10 best stocks according to the PE ratio and look at that. All 10 are below a PE ratio of 7. So this means that the Italian stock market is surely cheaply evaluated right now. But yeah, it's all related to banks. So you have Banca Monte dei Paschi di Siena, BPER Banca, Unipol Gruppo, okay, that's insurances as well. Azimut Holding, that's also more, how do you say it, more investing related. Then you have Unicredit and Banco BPM. So a lot of companies related to the bank sector and insurances as well. Then you have A2A, that's energy related, and then Tenaris and Buzi Unicem, which is building related or building materials related. So really cheaply valuated right now, the MIB 40, I think. And there are 6 other stocks with a PE under 10. So it's definitely the cheapest market that I looked at so far. And yeah, STA Microelectronics is the 11th stock. And I already named that on the CAC 40 index video as one of the possible winners. But yeah, it's semiconductor and the EPS is going down of that stock. So really be careful if you want to invest in that one. So not financial advice, always do your own research. And then the 10 best stocks according to the dividend yield. And if you look at all the yellow, you immediately see what I'm going to say. And that is that a lot of those, so in fact 8, have a payout ratio above 60%, and even 2 are above 100. So Esnam again and Mediobanca. So will they be able to maintain their dividend yield? I don't know. But yeah, Mediobanca, almost 13% of dividend yield, that's enormous. Stellantis as well, above 11%. Which one do you have as well? That is Eni, Italgas, Esnam, gas and energy related. Then Media for Europe. Okay, media company. I already said it in the French video as well. Media, that's not my go-to sector, so I don't know a lot about MFE or Media for Europe. So if you are interested in it, because yeah, it's with a PE of 10, a dividend yield of 6.5, and a payout ratio of slightly above 60%, it's definitely not a bad valuated company. But if it's really a company that can maintain that into the future, yes or no, because Media yeah, it's getting more and more electronic, and they have a lot of opposition of other platforms as well. Are they able to maintain their dividend? Are they able to maintain their earnings per share? I have no idea. So there you have to rely on your own judgment. And Poste Italiane, yeah, this is for me, this is one of the best stocks on the Italian stock market right now. The payout ratio, here you have ST Microelectronics on top again. So with a PE ratio of 7.51, dividend yield of 1.28%, you have a payout ratio that is below 10%. So in that regard, it's a stock that will be highly likely be able to maintain their dividend yield in the coming years and probably also be able to grow their dividend. But yeah, it's semiconductor, so that's always a difficult sector. Then you have building materials with Buzzi Unichem with a payout ratio of only 11.61%. And is there anything else that is namings worthy? Well, yeah, you have Davide Campari Milano, and on the CAC 40 you had Pernod Ricard, and that was at a PE valuation of 16.02. So here a PE of 27.86. That's definitely higher than Pernod Ricard on the French stock market. So if you want to invest in something that is related to to drinks, then maybe Pernod Ricard is more to your liking, valuation wise. But yeah, if you like Campari more than Pernod Ricard, then yeah, this one is a possibility for you. But no, for me, it's above 18 the PE ratio, so it's not coming into question for me. And then to finalize the Iveco group, also more in the transportation and automotive sector, but with the heavier cars, the heavier equipment for motorizational transport. But yeah, payout ratio below 30%, dividend yield 2.48, and a PE of around 10.5. Definitely not bad, but yeah, as I said, ETF, that's the way to go there. And then the 17 best stocks according to the dividend yield and with a payout ratio below 60%. Why I only picked 17? Well, there were, I think, 23 or 24 stocks with a positive dividend yield and a payout ratio below 60%. But I picked these 17 because they have a dividend yield of above 2% and a payout ratio of below 60%. And yeah, Stellantis is on top. Poste Italiane is then second ranked because I ordered it on base of the dividend yield. So only 2 of the top 10 survived here, of course. And then you have BPER Banca, Assicurazione Generali, Banca Monte dei Paschi di Siena, Unicredit, A2A, Azimut Holding, Tenaris, and Unipol Gruppo. So that is also bank and insurance related. Then you have Hera and Pirelli. So here's the third tire producer of Europe, beside Continental and Michelin, followed by Iveco, Moncler, Buzzi Unichem, Leonardo, and ST Microelectronics. So in fact, it's higher than 1%. So I was mistaken there. It's a dividend yield of above 1% and not above 2%. So is Tenaris the winner? So Tenaris it's in the building sector, and although you can't completely compare them against each other, they have a PE value of 6 right now on the Italian stock market, and you have Bouygues on the French stock market with a PE ratio of 12. You have Holcim on the Swiss stock market with a PE ratio of 14. So I am a stockholder of Holcim right now as well. I have 2 shares of Holcim, as you can see in the video that I made about the new stock portfolio that I started on you. And Heidelberg from Germany, that one has a PE ratio of 9. So Tenaris with a PE of 6, it's definitely the cheapest one, but it's really oriented towards pipes. So it produces pipes for all types of applications. But yeah, the other companies, they are more all-rounded. So yeah, for me it's a difficult one. So I like Holcim because yeah, I'm living now in Switzerland, so buying a stock from the Swiss stock market is always a bit more easier. But Tenaris, yeah, it's definitely on my watch list right now. And then you have Poste Italiane, and that one has a PE of under 10. And compared to DHL on the German stock market with a PE of 14.5, it is really good valuated right now. And also the dividend yield and the payout ratio look also attractive. But it is in the post business, and in Belgium, bpost is really having a hard time. Okay, bpost isn't organized that well as DHL and Poste Italiane, but for me, DHL, although it has a higher PE ratio, yeah, it's really all over the place. It's all over Europe, and when you want to send packages with with dangerous goods, DHL is always doing a great job. So I don't know about that with Poste Italiane, and in that regard, I'm naming it here, but I'm more likely to invest in DHL than in Poste Italiane. And then Pirelli. I put 3 question marks here, just like with the time that I had ST Microelectronics in the CAC 40 video, because yeah, it's Continental and Michelin, they are the European opponents, and they have a PE of 13, but Pirelli has one that is slightly lower with 11.8. So it looks more attractive than Continental and Michelin, but there is just so much competition going on with a lot of Asian companies that drop their tires here in Europe. So yeah, it's really difficult to invest your money into Pirelli, Continental, or Michelin right now. And yeah, which one to pick? Continental and Michelin. For me, I often have driven with Continental tires, and I like them a lot. I have driven once with Pirelli, and I didn't like them that much. But yeah, Michelin. That was more when I was younger. I drove with Michelin, and I like those ones as well. So Pirelli, it was a tire that I liked the least. If it's still the case, I don't know, because it's more than 15 years ago that I drove with Pirelli, and in 15 years a lot can change. So I don't know what is going on in the tire branch. I only know that you have a lot of Asian competitors, and they make it really hard to make a good margin on tires. So it's also harder to make a profit then. And with that being said, thank you for watching this one. See you next time on my YouTube channel. Bye.